Well, welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. I'm your host, Jeff Vega. And as I mentioned before, hey, please make a comment. Good, bad, indifference, doesn't matter. Would love that. And share it too. We're going to talk about fighting back because there's a lot of that going on now. You know, I mentioned to you a couple of days ago that not to be discouraged and there was a plan out there how we could take it back. Well, I want to show you some things today of those who are fighting back and from those who don't like it, you know, because the left has really had no opposition when it comes back to the culture. When it comes to the culture, there hasn't been any pushback, but now they're getting it. So Dave, I want you to play this first video of this journalist.
It's hard for me as a reporter because I don't want to put foils in a bad light, right? Freedom of information laws are wonderful things, but it is in fact a tactic of national and just hyper and fast-growing local organizations to use onerous public records requests. So what we'll see, what we saw in Maine, is asking for all of these records requests of, you know, how much money did you spend on anything involving race? And then that is used to sort of frame, again, the school board as being, as paying for CRT, which again is just not the case. And so that's what happened there. In Nevada, we saw, again, this local group called Nevada Family Alliance, who was really known for trying to get drag queen story hour stopped at the local libraries. And now one activist there told me that this was the opportunity she had been waiting for. So she files these onerous FOIA requests, gets them, and then translates them in a way that's just not correct or accurate, in a way to suggest that, again, the school board is coming from your children and teachers are specifically teaching white kindergartners, that they're somehow oppressors. It's just not really true. So onerous FOIA requests, school board meetings being showing up en masse and yelling at school board members, all of this is sort of a tactic, and it's being left up on by national organizations, from the Heritage Foundation to ALEC to other groups that have popped up after the Trump presidency to sort of push this American First agenda. And it's also being, you know, roundly embraced by news organizations, like you mentioned, like Fox News, Breitbart, other right-wing organizations who are just covering this stuff en masse when it's really a local issue. This
journalist, if you want to call her that, to me, she's just nothing but a hack. She is pretty much pissed because we're using the law as a means of fighting back. And she doesn't like that, you know, because they've never had pushback. We can use FOIA and get the information and go into these school board meetings and calling out these individuals on the board. They don't like that. And she voices it here. And it just shows you how pathetic this lady truly is, because, you know, if you have nothing to hide, then why not have everything revealed? And this next one, I want to show you, Dave, if you could put the article up here and let them see that. This was an email sent out by a school principal. And you see, as I told you last time, last week when I was on board, that what they really think about you, and this is a perfect example. They have no respect for you there, and she made the mistake of putting it in the email. And of course, if you read the article, she apologizes because it was just in a heated moment. But friends, don't ever be deceived. This is truly what they think. Another one here, we have a situation where in Loudoun County, they are done. They are done with the school board, and they're on the verge of doing a recall. And Dave, play this video.
For over a year, Loudoun County children and parents have struggled with school closures and distance learning.
Figure it out!
But the Loudoun County School Board put their focus elsewhere, infecting our schools with critical race theory. training teachers that Christians are oppressors, and teaching children about their white privilege and white fragility. Shockingly, law enforcement is now investigating a secret online group that included 6 school board members. This group was soliciting money and volunteers to infiltrate, cancel, and even commit cybercrime against parents who wanted to open schools or to stop their divisive agenda. One school board member even endorsed an official committee to, quote, silence the opposition. That same committee suggested firing teachers that were uncomfortable with critical race theory training. Parents and teachers are fighting back. They're recalling the 6 school board members who stood by and did nothing while parents were targeted, all while neglecting their duty to fully reopen schools. Fight for Schools is going to fight for Loudoun County students, parents, and teachers all day, every day, until we make a change. Join fightforschools.com, sign the petition, and learn how to win the future for our children.
Fightforschools.com sponsored this ad.
Okay, so you see, these parents, they're being proactive now. There's these 6 members on this board who got together and they were going to go after these parents, and they got caught, basically. And now only are they under a federal investigation, but these parents are going to see that they get recalled. And then here's another one with one of the parents in Loudoun County. So they play that video.
All right, Ian Pryor, Fight for Schools. How y'all enjoying the spotlight of accountability? Now, for today's episode, I want to talk about the Equity Collaborative. You all spent, or actually we all spent,
Mr.
nearly
Pryor,
$500,000.
keep your mask on.
Yeah, I'm trying. Nearly $500,000 to the Equity Collaborative. This is the same Equity Collaborative in their document, Intro to Critical Race Theory, said meritocracy, liberalism, and equal opportunity for all perpetuates white power. Now, in the never-ending grift of the Equity Collaborative, we are paying them $650 an hour. Now, I've heard from Miss Bartz and Miss King and Mr. Ziegler that we don't do critical race theory, but I'll just go to the bills from the Equity Collaborative. Quote, coaching support for LCPS leaders, follow-up meetings focused on critical race theory development. Fight for Schools has more tips, more stories than you all have time, but we can do this all day, every day, until 2023 if necessary, or maybe sooner, we'll see. Have a nice rest of the meeting.
So you see here, Ian, he comes to the school board prepared with documents, and he calls them out on their spending and their practices. And I find it interesting that the school board president says, put your mask on, early on. She doesn't care what he's got to say. She only cares about his mask. And that just tells you where their mindset is.
Before the governing school board today is a vote for a new curriculum that appears well-intentioned, appealing, even empathetic, but in actuality further divides us. When you peel back the layers of this onion, you will see that it promotes taking from one group in order to compensate a second group, to correct injustices caused by a third group who mistreated a fourth group by an earlier point in history. It's absurd. Not only does it not promote justice, it does the opposite. It promotes racism. And you cannot cure racism with more racism.
Stop diluting student education with political correct, feel-good propaganda.
I didn't come prepared with statistics or anything. I'm just basically coming from a parent and my own personal experience as a parent. I'm the mother of a high school senior and an 8th grade son. And my fear is this type of curriculum will actually breed more racism and more divide in our country rather than unity. I fear that this is actually taking a step backward.
The recent events have brought to light the failure of our education system. The young people we witnessed rioting and looting in some of our largest cities came out of an education system that had taught them to hate America.
I'd rather empower people in minority groups to rise above and not do anything that's going to create a victim mentality that if you're born a certain way, that you're now not afforded the same options in our country that everyone else is. Because I think we live in a country where if you put forth the effort, there's opportunities out there for everyone.
The source of the hatred can be traced directly to the emphasis on identity culture, which separates us into special interest groups. Each group is isolated from the other by mistrust stemming from perceived grievances and artificial cultural barriers.
Yet the National Education Association feels it's their duty to indoctrinate our children and further strip parents of their rights to teach their children their values and their morals. They want to teach a revisionist American history that teaches victimhood, entitlement, and the loathing for our country. We do not want or need this curriculum in our Peoria schools. We need to find ways that unite us. Focus on good character. Focus on shared values. Focus on being an upstanding individual who has big dreams and goals. If our goal is to truly heal relationships, then let's talk about loving your neighbor as you love yourself. Our common values like respect, honesty, and trustworthiness.
You gotta love it, man. I'm loving it because we are everywhere across this country, and parents are fighting back. You just gotta love them stepping up there and they're talking about it. And friends, wherever you're at, I don't care what little town you live in or what urban area you live in, wherever you're seeing this, you need to gather up a handful of your neighbors and march yourself down to a local school board meeting and find out what's going on and begin to make a change. And we're going to end this segment with this last video. And I want you to listen to this doctor.
When you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other, that's pretty much what it's going to, that's pretty much, I don't care what you say, it's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he white? You're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? How did I get, first of all, stand up, because I only got 5 minutes now, 5 minutes. 2 medical degrees. No mom, no dad in the house. Worked my way through college. Sat there and hustled my butt off to get through college. You gonna tell me somebody that looked like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious? Not one white person ever came to me and say, well, son, you're never going to be able to get nowhere because you know the black people. But guess what? What's sickening about this whole thing is what y'all doing right now is already something I do in my community right now to speak out against stuff because black folks are getting told by other black folks, oh, you know you ain't going to be able to do nothing out there in the world because them white folks ain't going to let you get no, oh, you know you're not going to be able to do it here because you know, the white man going to keep you down. Well, how did I get where I am right now if some white man kept me down? How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I worked for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You gonna sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory? Of this the reason why black folks can't get ahead because of white folks? Are you kidding me? This is what we come to now. I can't believe we even talking about this right now. The last thing I'm gonna say right here is something that's crazy. Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what? Their character, not their skin. If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. Y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on his grave with this nonsense? That's exactly what's about to happen. Lastly, we are talking about our kids. We are talking about our children. What's so sickening about me, I love the Discovery Channel. You will see that on the Discovery Channel, animals will put their lives on the line to protect their children from danger. Nobody want to get to the heart of the matter, get to the meat of the matter, get to the moral of the story. It all comes down to it. The person that's going to be suffering from this, the one's going to be hurt from this, is the kids. 10 years from now, if this stuff goes on, whose fault is it going to be? Whose fault is it going to be? Who we going to look back on and blame for this? Because this is stuff we talking about right now. This stuff is going on right now. I do this stuff on a daily basis. I'm in the hood. I'm in the communities. I'm out there with folks in their face. I've been doing this stuff since I was 18 years old, talking to black folks. And you know what? None of them are buying this nonsense. None of them are. But if you want to implement this into the school system, I guarantee you to the day that I die, I'm going to be the very person right there debunking stuff, tearing stuff down, letting them know they can do exactly what I did and get exactly where I am by putting themselves to work and getting there. And ain't not one white person ever going to keep any of them from getting there. So the CRT stuff, BS.
You got to love it, friends. This doctor is not having any of it. Black doctor, and he's not buying into this theory, this teaching that if you're a minority, you're being oppressed, that you've got things against you. You know what? The fact that you are born, you got something a long way to go. You got issues, you got things you got to overcome. Now, granted, some have an easier way than others, but as you heard this man say, that no one was going to stop him from succeeding in life. And that's something that the progressives on the left are trying to do, is they're making it look like white people are privileged and minorities like me, we're at a disadvantage and we don't have a shot at it. Well, friends, once I decided that not to be a victim, though I never really thought about being a victim, I should say, for me it was about making right choices, because early on I didn't make all the right choices. But the reality is nobody ever stopped me or hindered me except for me. And you love this doctor. You got to love him for what he come out and say. And the thing, did you catch that he said that individuals in his community growing up, they're not buying it either. They know, okay? But what he said was, you know, if you begin to teach that to kids, they're going to get that in their mind, and that's how they're going to walk in life. And he's not buying it, and you shouldn't either. Well, until next time, Joshua 24:15.